Now, let's look at these two examples that we have here. A question came up about the placement of the 3. In this first placement, the 3 is the index because it's in that nook of the radical. But of course, you have to make sure that you draw your radical sign in such a way that you have space to put your index. But the 3 over here does not mean the index. How would you read this problem on the left? The cube root of 54. How do you read this one?
Square root.
3 square roots of 54. So the work that you would do for each of these is going to be different. So for this problem right here, I'm looking for a perfect cube factor, right? Because it has to be a perfect cube inside the cube root. How could you break down 54 to see a perfect cube? And if you're not sure about this, look at your list of cubes. Is there a perfect cube here that would go into 54?
No.
Well, you may not see that. Tell me a number that you know goes into 54.
2.
2. All right. How many times does 2 go into 54?
27 times.
Goes in 27 times. Is that useful?
No.
No? It's not useful at all on my list of cubes, is it?
Break it. No.
Not. Oh, what do you know? This guy is a perfect cube, isn't it? So what's the cube root of 27? Okay, again, here's your cheat sheet.
3.
It's 3, right? This is why you have your own list. Now, I see you've got yours in a 3-ring binder. You can always pop that out. That's not? Yeah.
It has no answers.
I'm glad that you cannot see the disappointment just by looking at my hand, but it's there. So I get 3 and what's left inside the radical.
2. Oh.
So do you agree with that answer?
Yes.
I wasn't going to do that one, but I would have done like 6 and 9.
Okay, well, if you don't see 2 and 27, then you go with what you know. You know 6 and 9, you can use that guy. But then you're going to keep breaking him down until you find either a perfect cube or what? What would I look for inside of a cube root if I don't see a perfect cube?
3 of the same number.
3 of the exact same factor, right? If you use 6 and 9, eventually you're going to see that you're going to have 3 what? You'll have 3 3s on the inside. I've got an issue with the way that I wrote my answer here. It's wrong. What's wrong with this guy? Sometimes we don't see what's wrong with the problem until we read it out loud. Read the original problem out loud. What is it?
Oh, you have it as a square root.
This is the cube root of 54, but this is 3 square roots of 2. So how did my radical change? It shouldn't have. So what am I missing? I'm missing the index of 3. So you make sure that you write this clearly so you see a coefficient of 3, but you've got the index of 3. Okay?
So we still need to still put that cubed.
The cube root, the index has to go there. You start with the cube root, and as long as we're doing a simplifying like we have here with using the factor tree, you still have the index there. If you drop it, you're in trouble. But I want you to see the difference between the expression on the left and the one on the right. This 3 is multiplied times the square root, right? Which means anything that you break out of the square root is going to do what with the 3 that's already out here?
Multiply.
It's going to multiply times that. Now, Courtney, I'm going to go back to what you said with the 54. How did you break that down?
6 and 9.
You used 6 and 9. Now, I'm going to stop right here because I'm looking for what kind of numbers inside the square root.
Perfect cube.
No.
No, square.
Square root.
Square.
I'm looking for perfect squares. Isn't 9 a perfect square? If I break down the 6, though, that's 2 times 3. Does that help me out at all? He doesn't give me anything else, does he? So, this 9, just for emphasis, this 9 comes outside of the square root as what?
3.
He comes outside as a 3. There was already a 3 out here, and then what's left inside the square root? Who was not a perfect square?
2.
These guys weren't perfect squares, were they? But am I going to write 2 times 3 inside here?
No.
What am I going to write?
6.
I'm going to write 6.
Oh, that's still gonna be,
But 6, no matter how you break 6 down, do you get anything else to come out of that square root?
no.
No. But am I going to leave this as my answer?
No.
So what is this as my final answer?
9 square roots of 6.
9 square roots of 6. Now notice where I put my 9. It's very clear that the 9 is not my index, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the spot for your index, but there's nothing there. Because it's a square root. So you see the difference between these two problems and what their answers look like.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.